Good morning, good day. G with the word here, and I want to talk to you about life and God, the truth. The truth about life and God has been corrupted and distorted in our time. Our children and us have been led to believe that life consists of fun and money and things and pleasure. I want to share with you briefly 4 truths about life and God. First of all, the first truth is that life is worthless without God. This is from the 127th Psalm, and we'll begin verse 1. It says, "Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it." Each of us, my friend, faces eternity and judgment. You might say you don't believe it. You don't believe in God. You don't believe in eternity. Well, let me tell you something. Your disbelief does not matter. For example, if you believe in the Big Bang Theory of creation and not God's creation, your original particle that they discuss in that theory that exploded to form the universe, it had to come from somewhere. Well, where did it all come from? I can tell you, it came from God. But I don't believe in that particular way of creation. I believe in God's creation. But it all came from God. Doesn't make any difference whether you believe it or not. No matter how much money, power, friends, etc. that you may accumulate, no matter how much education, knowledge, and experience, you will face God. And without Him, there is no real peace or hope. That truth, life is worthless without God. Second of all, life is dangerous without God. In that same verse, it says, "Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain." That tells me that unless God's in charge and unless God's watching over, things can be dangerous. I have buried quite a few who had no idea that they would die. I've seen terminal cancer come on in what seemed to be just a moment. I've been at the bedside of those who were driving or riding along, not knowing that in the next second they would be crippled or scarred for life. And I have been in the presence of the families of loved ones who had no hope for the deceased. In each of these situations and more situations, life without God was a disaster. In each type of these difficulties, there was peace when God was present in the lives of all. We are safe in all situations with the Lord in our life. Second truth, life is dangerous without God. Third, life is miserable without God. Verse 2, it reads this way: "It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, and to eat the bread of sorrows." He's discussing people here who get up early in the morning because they can't sleep, get up and stay up late at night, and they're worrying about stuff. Life is miserable without God because you worry. And I'm going to tell you something. You can think back over your life and the things that have happened to you, and some of them have been good, but a lot of them have been bad as well. And you worried, or I worried. Worry has never solved anything. Because you worry, life is miserable without God. And because you don't have rest, don't worry. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about food. Now, you need to work, but don't worry. God created you, and if you trust Him and are obedient, He will take care of you and He will give you His rest. Without God, you may experience some of what the world terms as happiness, but the real joy and peace will never come without God in your life. And the fourth truth is this one, very important. Life exists for God's tomorrows. I want to read verses 3 through 5 in the 127th Psalm. Listen to this. It says, "Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is His reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them, and they shall not be ashamed, but shall speak with the enemies in the gate." Now, what the psalmist is doing here, he is speaking of tomorrow in human terms, and that is children. God had in mind a continuation of generations here in this life. The children are our earthly tomorrows, and what we teach them is important. And then he also had in mind that a continuation through eternity with him in heaven. God has something great for you in tomorrow. It might be here on this earth, or it might be in glory. Whichever, it's going to be good. Life exists for God's tomorrows. And I want you to remember, life is worthless without God. Life is dangerous without God. Life is miserable without God. And life exists for God's tomorrows. May God bless and lead and guide you in all things this day, in the days to come.